want to do today, one second. Yes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go back into last week's parsha for the first half, and then segue into this week's parsha. Last week's parsha was Bahar B'chukotai, finishing Sefer Vayikra. This week is Parshat Bamidbar, starting Sefer Bamidbar. But once again, so many times in our class, guys, we find psukim, just 2 or 3 words that just explodes and have so many messages in our life. So we're going to start with, I think, 2 powerful psukim in last week's parsha. Here we go. I hope you like it. All right. Go. Here we go. Okay. So at the end of last week's parsha in Bahar, over there the Torah talks about, in Bahar it talks about Shemitah, and during certain times people might be not successful in their business. Maybe they're losing their business, like what's going on now. Maybe things are a little bit of a challenge. So the Torah says like this: "V'chiyamuch achicha," if your brother becomes destitute, from the word namoch, goes down, u'matay yado imach, and his hand falters, says the Torah, "Vehechezakta bo," support him, chazak, hold on to him. A ger v'toshav, because usually those are the people who, were a little foreign, they were a little poorer. V'chai imach, and that person should live with you. So from those 2 words, v'hechezakta bo, so Rashi says, do not allow him to fall down and collapse altogether, in which case it would be difficult to pick him up again. Support him while his hand is still faltering. I think everybody knows, if anybody's listening to any of the news, that's what everybody's trying to do. Open the country, open the country. Open the country before, open the states, before it might be, too late. That's what the Torah is saying. The Torah is saying, make sure, grab onto him while he still has something going. But from those 2 words is a very famous Rambam, guys. I'll get to this pasuk in a second. Everybody knows that the Rambam lists 8 levels of tzedakah. As the Rambam says, there are 8 levels of tzedakah, one greater than the other. The greatest level, higher than all the rest, is to fortify a fellow Jew and give him a gift, a loan, or form with him a partnership, or find work for him. That's the highest form of charity. Not necessarily giving him the money, give him a loan to get him back on his feet. Get him a job. Because the pasuk says, that's the pasuk that we just learned in last week's parsha. If your kinsman being in straits come under you, right? That is to hold him up. Hechezakta bo. And that's where the Rambam and the Gemara gets it from, those 2 words. Everybody, when they read this, Rambam jumps in with one of the most famous sayings in the world. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man 2 fish and you feed him for a lifetime. I always thought that it was a Chinese proverb. So when I looked up this quote, they're quoting Maimonides. Now, I don't think Maimonides, be honest with you, I don't think Maimonides was talking about going fishing. I'll be honest with you. So I'm going to assume that whoever took this concept of, or this saying of give a man a fish, borrowed it from the concept of the Rambam, which is the highest one, which comes from our pasuk v'chazakta bo. So there you go. Famous proverbs come from our, no Chinese proverb. The Torah came before the Chinese. And therefore, he called it in Maimonides. By the way, interesting to me that when I looked it up on the internet, they say Maimonides, Spanish philosopher. Look at that. Not a word about him being a great rabbi and a great Torah scholar. Okay. Now, I think there's a little bit of depth in there, and I'm going to take 2 minutes to share something that happens sometimes on Chesed Mission that I always talk about, which, again, the Rambam says that the highest form is to put a person back on their feet, v'hechezakta bo. Let me tell you the depth, and let me tell you the story I talk about on Chesed Mission. So thanks to Susan Franco, she collects, who knows, like hundreds and hundreds of toys and presents, and we're all set, and we all get on the plane, and we're all excited to do Chesed, and on the first day, we're going to Hadassah Hospital. Wow, who doesn't want to go to a hospital and make a kid happy, right? And we come out with the suitcases, and we have all these toys, and then we walk into the hospital, and there aren't enough sick kids to give the toys to. Oh, no. Okay, How silly is that? Of course, we want to do chesed. Of course, we want to help people. But the goal of doing chesed should be that there should be no more need to have chesed. A person shouldn't, that's what the Rambam is saying. Don't walk around saying, I want to be the guy that gives because it makes me feel good to give. Okay, I'm happy it makes you feel good to give. But the Torah says, get him or her up on their feet. I don't know if you've ever heard of Judge Butler from Pittsburgh. No, he's a very famous speaker. We're going to find out the age gap at this next story. Okay, I'm going to see who smiles and goes like this and who is like a deer in the headlights. I'm going to give you a name. You ready? Ida Nudell. No? Oh, no. Okay. So Ida Nudell was a refusenik who was in jail in the Soviet Union for wanting to go to Israel, like Sharansky. And so many of us went on marches and wrote letters to free Ida Nudell from jail. Judge Butler, who's about my age, gives this speech, and he says, can I tell you what was one of the most challenging days in my life? One of the most challenging days in my life, he says, is when they let Ida Nudell out of jail. Oh no, what am I going to do now? I have nothing to protest for. Does everybody get the concept? Which means hechezaktabo. It's a beautiful concept. That the goal of chesed, the goal is put the person on their feet. Not necessarily, and as a matter of fact, I even met a gentleman who helped another guy do a business. Can you imagine how good you could be? And that person's second business, the person he helped, was more successful than his business. That's a tzaddik. That's a real chesed. Okay, so that's what we learned from that word v'chezaktabo, and that was worth looking into it. I hope. Now this pasuk is a bombshell. Right afterwards, this was pasuk lamed hey, and this lamed vav. Again, the guy is poor. You need to help him. So al tikach meito neshech. Of course, don't charge him interest. Guys, ready? 3 words that will take us another half hour. Okay, we're very slow in these words. V'chai or chei achicha imach. When you help the person, let your brother live with you. So that sounds, okay, very nice. He should live with me. I should help him. No, it's much stronger than that. Now, you're going to be a little interesting because we're going to move into a selfish mode. Says the Gemara in Baba Metzia. The Gemara says, what do you do with this verse? And your brother should live with you. Says the Gemara, it's taught us the following case. Very famous case, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's on. If 2 people were walking on a desolate path, and there is 1 jug of water in the possession of one of them, and the situation was such that if both drink from the jug, both will die, that means it's not enough water. But if only one of them drinks, he will reach a settled area. There is a dispute. There's a man called Ben Betura says it's preferable that both of them drink and die, so one of them don't see the death of the other. This was the accepted opinion until Rabbi Akiva came along and said, no. The pasuk says, "V'chai achicha imcha," with you. You are the primary. He is the secondary, indicating that life takes precedence over the life of the other. Do you understand what those 3 words teach us? If I am on the Titanic and there's only 1 life jacket and I have it, I am allowed to save myself and not save you. V'chai achicha imcha. You come first. That sounds so strange in Judaism, right? But that's what Rabbi Akiva says. There's a halacha that your life precedes somebody else. Yes, we learned that you're not allowed to kill somebody, right? You can't be a proactive person and you have to die not to kill that person. We learned that halacha, but I'm not killing anybody here. It's a natural thing. It's the Titanic. There's no water, right? I don't have to give up my life for the other person. Chai achicha imcha. It gets even crazier. Are we ready? Here we go. Follows, because believe it or not, we always talk about being selfless. Look what it says. Who do we go like? So the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva. And it applies to many aspects of our life, because some of you are going to say, Rabbi Besser, how often does it come up that I'm on the Titanic? How often does it come up that I'm in the desert with only Diet Coke? Like, how does that happen? No, it happens a lot. For example, a person must provide for his own needs before those of others. Moreover, there's a list of priorities in the laws of charity, whereby a person must provide for those closer to him first. Whoa! I don't know if you guys remember in Hilchot Tzedakah, in charity, there is based in the pasuk priorities. I don't know if you know, you should know. If you have $10 and your neighbor needs it and your brother needs it, what's the halacha? Your brother, it's a pasuk. Whoever is closer to you is the person who gets it. Now, look, can I ask you a basic question? Who is the closest to you? Of course, besides Sefreda, but who's the closest to you? You. You're the closest to you. So, al pi halacha, you're supposed to take the tzedakah before giving it to somebody else. That's the halacha. Not even a question of saving a life. We're talking about a need. You need a suit, and the poor guy needs a suit. You are supposed to give you the suit first. Can you imagine I'm teaching this? I'm teaching you how to be selfish. This is what the Torah says. So there's a fine line between being selfless and selfish. The Torah doesn't want you to be selfless. I'm going to go even a step further. Watch this. Says the Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim writes that these priorities do not apply just to charity, but to all forms of chesed. It could seem that this concept of chayecha kodmin, your life comes first, all forms of chesed. Listen to me carefully. When we learn Hilchot Tzedakah, what are the things that it's not me. Rav Moshe says this, so many rabbis say this, that tzedakah and chesed doesn't only mean physical things. A four-letter word that sometimes is even more important than money, and that's called time. Time. Time is chesed. Spending time with somebody listening to their issues is chesed. Spending time with your kids is chesed. That's chesed. But a person has a right, you listen to me carefully, if they need the time for themselves, they have a right to say, I need some time also. Now, obviously, there's a balance. But there is such a thing. I need time, the person says, to learn my own Torah so I can be the rabbi to help people. Yes, you have a right to cut off a person and say, I'm sorry, I can't see you today. Moms, I hope you're going to be happy with what I'm about to say. Mom has a right to say, I need to go play tennis for an hour because I need that time so I can be a better mother. 100%. Not only 100%, it's a mitzvah. V'chai achicha imcha. And the Torah does not want you to end up being selfless and destroy yourself. Not interested. That's not what the Torah wants. A person has to build themselves up. A person has to spend the time or do whatever they got to do. Obviously, guys, don't go crazy. Don't tell your husband that you need to go shopping and you need $1 million in order to build yourself up. That's up to you. But look at this saying. If you're searching for the one person that will change your life, take a look at the mirror, which means a person needs to be able to figure out what they need. And again, I'm giving you the pasuk in last week's parsha, v'chai achicha imcha. But of course, it can't be abused. Everybody got it? Now it gets a little more slippery slope, as they use in the news reports. So you're supposed to save yourself. Okay. What happens if I can't help being a selfless person? That's why I am. I love people so much, I want to give up my life to save another person. I want to give up things that are good for me for somebody else. Look at the halacha. Endangering oneself in order to save another person. So we learned 2 weeks ago, the Torah commands us that when you see somebody blood being spilled, you guys remember this? We learned, Lo ta'amod adam rayach. We must therefore do everything in our power to save another Jew from a life-threatening situation. We got that. If one is able to save another person and does not, He has transgressed his commandment. However, listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. There is also a ruling of chayecha kodmi, which we just learned, which teaches us that your life takes precedence, and therefore one is not allowed to place oneself in a life-threatening situation to spare another from a life-threatening situation. Okay, do you understand what I just said? The Gemara has a great phrase. Actually, I'm going to tell you the example the Gemara says, and you're going to smile. The phrase is called, 2 words, I didn't write it, Chasid Shotet. A Chasid, Shotet with a tet. Shotet with a taf means a Chasid that drinks. That you'll find, you don't need me for that. A Chasid Shotet is like Shtut, a foolish Chasid. You know what the Gemara is? This is not my Gemara. The Gemara says the example. A man who's walking by a river and he sees a woman drowning and he says, I can't jump in to save the woman because I can't look at the woman. The Gemara says he's a Chasid Shotet. He's an idiot. He's taking piety and bringing it to the wrong place. Same thing here, which means we just learned, listen to me carefully. Your life, our life, I don't mean you guys. Our life is not ours to give. Hashem gave us a life. And therefore we need to follow the rules of Hashem of when is allowed and when is not allowed. So if I want to say, but I don't care about my life. I want to save this guy's life. It's a sin. I'm really sorry, but this is the halacha. It's a sin. It's a chassid shoteh. And later on, I'm going to show you a source that says, this is heavy duty, get ready. It's called suicide. And suicide in the Torah is not allowed. So it's a big deal, which means understand how the Torah gives this balance, you're not allowed. Where does it get very slippery and very difficult to make a decision? Watch now. The question that the poskim deal with is save a safek sakana. Wow. Safek means a doubt. In order to save another Jew. For example, a man is drowning and no one jumps in, he will die. However, the torrent is pretty strong and it's possible. Okay, you listen to me. This has become a huge, huge discussion amongst rabbis. Again, let me repeat so I can make myself clear. If it's a vadai and a vadai, let's talk Gemara language, that person is definitely going to die. And if I jump in, I'm definitely going to die. Not allowed. Not allowed. It's against the halacha. But what happens if I can swim? So I'm not sure what might happen. I might not make it. I'm a safek. He's a vadai. So believe it or not, there's a huge discussion if that is allowed or not allowed. I'm not, obviously, what the end of the day is that we can't make these decisions. God has to make these decisions, and we have to go through Torah, and we have to ask, decision, because what we're going to talk about soon is you have to actually measure, we'll get to that, we have to weigh what's called dangerous, how big is the percentage. Before I go further, as I'm doing this, I want to share a very, very powerful book with you. And since, we're home, we have time to read, I highly recommend this. It's a very, very challenging book. Can you imagine scratch that. A person who went through the Shoah, can one imagine what kinds of questions of this can come up? That's crazy stuff. The Nazis come into the town and they go to me and they say, tell us where the people are, right? Or else we'll kill you. Now, I'm not killing the other people. Am I allowed to let myself die not to rat on my friends? Crazy question. I'll make it even crazier for you. What if a parent says to the Nazi, kill me instead of my kid? These are questions that are so heavy. And obviously, the first feeling is, well, let the person decide on their feeling. But you can't decide on your feeling because it's pasukim. It's God's Torah. I'm not giving you an answer to those because I'm too nervous. But I will share with you the rabbi who did. You got to read this guy. I'm sorry. There's a sefer called Responsa from the Holocaust. The man's name was Rabbi Ephraim Oshri. He lived a long life. I'm just going to read a little bit of his background. Rabbi Oshri, who had studied under the most renowned Torah sages, was one of the few rabbinical authorities for the Jews seeking the Torah's answers to heart-wrenching questions throughout the war. He was a rabbi during the war. Rabbi Oshri hoped to one day show the world how his fellow Jews, how his fellow Jews thought, felt, and behaved in the most inhumane of circumstances. When asked a question, he would write the details on scraps of paper along with the responses he provided. He then hid those papers, can you imagine, guys, in cans and buried in the ground of the concentration camp near Kovno. Okay, I got to stop for a second. Do you understand what's going on? People actually asked him, what's the halacha? Because they were nervous to make their own decisions. At such points, you want to go, I want to do the right thing. He had the wherewithal to write the questions on scraps of paper. He put it in canisters, and he buried it just in case. Amazing what certain people did. End of the story. Rabbi Oshri miraculously survived the war. However, his beloved wife and children were murdered in the concentration camps, unfortunately. He later remarried to a woman who herself was a survivor. After the war, Rabbi Oshri unearthed the hidden cans. He came back and he found them, and then painstakingly reviewed each and every question with Torah text, as his original answers were based solely on memory. Once properly researched, he compiled a 5-volume book. It's called Sheilot Utshuvot Mima'amakim. It's called Responsive from the Holocaust. This was just a sideshow. It's something fascinating. Questions that were asked of him, halachically, and answers that he gave. It's just amazing what kind of nation we are, what kind of people we are, that people have where we are. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so let's move. And therefore, as I said, I'm just going to repeat again, life for a life. I looked this up in Halachapedia, and that's a Wikipedia for halacha. While one is not permitted to automatically give one's life and save the other, an act of suicide. One may risk their own life. So he touches both. If it's definite and risk. Okay. One of the most popular, I don't know how to say the word popular, I don't know. One of the biggest things now that people do is donate a kidney. Donating a kidney. We had teachers who donate, it's a big deal. Renewal, it's a beautiful thing. Renewal, is that what it's called? Oh, Simone. Simone donated a kidney. There she goes. Excellent. And how you feeling, Simone? You're good. All right. Okay, so Simone, don't get nervous. I'm going to end up being that it's okay. But I just want to show you even something that we think, whoa, look at that. I'm doing a mitzvah, right? And you did, Simone, but you'll see at the end. I want to just show you. Not that simple. So there's a very famous rabbi. His name is Rabbi Yehuda Unterman. Anybody who lived in Israel, who knew Israel early, he was the chief rabbi. He was the Ashkenaz chief rabbi of Israel from 1964 till 1972, giving you pretty good credentials, right? Well, Rabbi Unterman, when asked the question, contended that the invasiveness of the surgery alone was sufficient to forbid kidney donations, okay? Which means not because of giving up an organ, because at that time, the danger level, right? The potential danger was high, and therefore, you're not allowed. Can you imagine? Somebody asked him, can I give a kidney? And he said, sorry, halacha says you can't. Why? Because you're putting yourself into danger. You're not allowed to. Unbelievable. The halacha today is not like that. So, Simone, you're good? Rav Moshe, right, already, Rav Moshe said, Rav Moshe Feinstein, anybody knows Rav Moshe Feinstein, concluded that the live kidney donations remain permissible and meritorious, even if the attendant risks prevent, right. Okay, so Rav Moshe says specifically, and of course, what changed, guys? Not that the Torah changed, but the fact that what? Medicine has, right, developed to such a point that the risk factor is low. Does everybody understand? And since the risk factor is low, it goes below the 50% mark, and it's not asur. I have to tell you, to a point, for those who know this, Chacham Ovadia Yosef, before he passed away, said so far that not only can you, he says you should. He says in today's medicine, it's a mitzvah. Simone, you did a big mitzvah according to Chamavadia. God bless you. But let me explain to you what this means. Why did I bring you the kidney thing? Because it is a balancing act. It's huge, which means we have to, balance the concept. Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan Chavetz Chaim, right, says the one is not obligated to risk one's life to save others if there's a definite danger. But even if a question is raised, nevertheless, he mirrors earlier rulings that state that if there's only a question of danger, the would-be rescuer should evaluate. Okay, why is this so important to end this part? Let me give you a Hilchot Shabbat example. Nod your head. Everybody knows. If there is an emergency, are we allowed to be Mechalel Shabbat? What's the halacha? Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. If my cell phone rings on Shabbos, am I allowed to answer it? No. 1 second. Before you say no, is there a possibility that it's an emergency? What's the answer? Of course there's a chance. But the chance is so low that halachically that doesn't render it a risk. Now you're beginning to understand. But if I was a doctor, right? Or I was a Hatzalah man, and my phone rings, yes. So you see how we work halacha? It's not that simple, which means there could be a risk, but the percentage of the risk makes a difference. Okay, I'm going to go, nobody can be upset at me. Is it wrong to take a ride in a car? No, it's not. Let's look at the percentages of people that die in car accidents. There you go. So there is a percentage of people who die in car accidents. Therefore, I should say, halachically, I'm not allowed to go in a car. But we don't say that because halachically speaking, we weigh the risks, just like donating a kidney, just like giving blood, just like doing anything. Can I tell you that a shaila should have been asked for those who are in the front lines of this pandemic? A nurse should be asking a question. Can I go and be a nurse? It's a beautiful thing. I love you. You're great. Right, Cookie? Can they work in nursing homes? I don't know. I don't know the halachic answer. One has to weigh the risk factor. This is a halacha. Because you're stuck between lo tamol adam reyecha and you're stuck between chayecha kodem. So this is not a simple answer about things. And it has to be weighed, and it has to work with rabbis, and it has to work with risk factors. Okay, done. Everybody got it? We're good? Okay. We are now moving into something on this pasuk. Can you imagine how much 3 words make a difference? I played with these, I went into these words, and then a whole new world. Should I sing a whole new world? No. Okay, here we go. Ready? So, we said, V'chai achicha imcha, right? Let's go back for a second. Who said that? Who said that if 2 guys are in the desert and he has to, right? Who said that? This was accepted until Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva came and taught that V'chai achicha imcha means that you come first. You're not equal. The other guy said they're equal. You come before your friend. Anybody about to smell what I'm about to ask? Come on, guys. Who said it? Rabbi Akiva? Amar Rabbi Akiva, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, ze klal gadol b'Torah. Rabbi Akiva is the one that promotes love your friend like you love yourself. Like means what? Even Steven, right? You and me, the same love. But Rabbi Akiva just said that if there's only 1 jug of water, Zeig is in. I'm keeping it. If there's only 1 French fry left at the table, who's getting it? Me, not you. What happened to V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha? I thought we love each other like a... Come on, that's a solid question. So there are 2 ways out of this. And they're going to teach us something really big. And let's see how much time we have for everything. So the Chinuch and Rav Shimshon Lefol Hirsch and all these people hold that the mitzvah is not to have the same love for your others as yourself. Now listen carefully, guys. You might disagree with them, but these are great people. They add a second question. Besides the fact that he said in the other place, he says this is impossible because we were created with a natural love for ourselves, which cannot be matched by love towards other people. And Hashem does not command that which is impossible. So what does the mitzvah of Ahavta l'reacha kamocha mean? Again, first of all, we have the contradiction with the pasuk of V'chayachi chayimcha. And these rabbis feel, you might disagree, that our natural being is to love ourselves. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself. And the natural thing is it's almost impossible for a person to say, unless they're suffering from low self-esteem, and then they just have to go to a therapist. But if you're a healthy person, you love yourself, and therefore it's impossible to love somebody else like you love yourself. So what does it mean? So they pick on an unbelievable difference between the two psukim. There it says, in other places where it says to love, let's think. V'ahavta kriyat shma. Let's say it. V'ahavta, what's the next word? Et Hashem Elokecha. Et, right? Love Hashem. V'ahavtem et hager, says in the pasuk, right? Love the stranger. Here it says, V'ahavta, lereacha. Doesn't say et reacha. Says the Ramban. Ready? Oh, open, please. Yeah, here we go. They want to say, it obligates us to want good things to happen to other people, just like we would want things to happen to ourselves. And this is the view of the Ramban, It does not say love your friend as yourself, Ahavta es reacha, but rather love to your friend, le reacha, which means not one has to really have the same love, but two. Well, okay, so this Perush answers both our questions, which is, no. I come first, and my natural feeling is that I do love. My love for me is bigger than my love for you. However, I have to teach myself to be happy for you, right? Just like I'm happy for me. That's doable. That's doable, right? If something nice happens to me, I should love the fact that it happens to me. I should not be jealous. I should love what happens lireacha. Nice, right? Nothing too deep. I want to go really deep now. And I want to give another perush that I've said often, but now I have a reference to it. I don't know if you noticed, I'm sure you did, that there's a difference between how to say friend. Ready? Here we go. Here you go. I'll get to this in a second. Mitzvah v'havta kamocha. The one is to love your friend as yourself. It is pointed out that there are two words in Lashon HaKodesh for friend. One is chaver. Listen carefully, this is very, very deep. And one is reya. The difference is that chaver means someone who's similar to you. From the word chaver, shares a root with the other word chibur. A chibur is a composition because you're connecting things, like a machberet or a choveret. So a friend, chaver, is somebody who you share the same likes and dislikes. You're the same. A chabura, that's a chaver, is someone who is thus easy to befriend because he is just like you. A reya is someone who is different to you. He might have different goals, different viewpoints, different personality. That person you must love, and your love is not if or because. Love is anyway, and even though, and in spite of. So listen to me carefully. This is how I want to do this. Watch me. It's really deep. The ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Here they use reya. And if you don't understand, please tell me. Love that person, even though you don't like that person. Even though that person annoys you. Like you. Now, when you like yourself, liking means you take care of yourself. Why do you take care of yourself? What's the reason? Not because you like yourself, because there's a need. Right? You're thirsty, you drink a cup of water because you need it. You're hungry, you go. You need clothing, you clothe you. Which means you service yourself with love because you need it. Not because, I'm a good guy to myself. And not because, wow, look at me, I'm so nice to me. That doesn't make sense. You just do it unconditionally. Now watch. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. The same way that you do ava to yourself unconditionally, then do it to the other person unconditionally. So that's not a stira anymore. Yes, if there's only one thing of water, I get it first. Yes, I come first. But the lesson here is that even if I don't necessarily feel, sometimes, you see somebody and you say, oh, this poor man, I feel bad for him. I feel for him. He's cute. He's nice. I don't know. Give him $10. Then you meet a guy who's not nice. He's not a nice person. So you say, I don't know. I don't feel the love. I don't care if you don't feel the love. This person needs the $10. Even the person you don't agree with, because it has to be unconditional. That's pshat. And therefore, it's not a contradiction. I hope I explained that well. Do you guys understand what I just said? Yes, I hope so. Okay. Wow. Once we discovered that, you take a look at what opens up now. Okay, so there's a very, very famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. I don't know why it took us so long to figure this out. Mishnah in Pirkei Avos defines what love is. Can you imagine if I go into class and I go, okay, guys, I found the definition of love. I know what love is. Where is it? It's in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Okay, I don't know how popular I would be, but I think the Mishnah is right. We can stop singing all those songs about love. Here's the Mishnah. What's true love, according to the Torah? Kol ahava shehitzluya b'davar, any love that is dependent on something, batel davar, batel ahava. If you love a person for a reason, that's not true love. You like the reason, but once the reason is gone, it's gone. But a love she'einat tzluya b'davar, einat b'teilah love. Temporary love is love that is based on a particular feature of the beloved, whatever the feature is. They're rich, but he might lose his wealth. He may lose his strength. He might lose the beauty. He might lose the good looks. True love needs to build a foundation of permanence, which means when the Torah says, V'ahavda l'reacha, they're using the word rea because rea connotes somebody you might not like at that moment, but they have a need, and you have the possibility to fill that need. You must fill that need. But I don't like this person. They got me angry the other day. Too bad. It's unconditional. V'ahavda l'reacha. You guys following? That's love. Now, this I've said before, and then all of a sudden I'm going to blow you away a little bit. Ready? Okay, we're getting into married life, so everybody prepare yourself. I didn't see your face, afraid. Let me look at your face. Okay. Into married life. Hang in there. Here we go. I got to share this blow away Gemara and then something that I never noticed before. So one old thing and two new things, and I don't know how much time we have for everything else. Listen to this Gemara. Please listen. I'll go slow. What is this Gemara talking about? The Gemara says that a person, I know this sounds strange, has a right to make a shaliach, a messenger, to marry his wife. Okay, you're going to think this is crazy. Let's think of a scenario. I'm in love. No, whatever. Somebody get me a shidduch. Whatever. And I'm in quarantine. I can't go out and marry her, right? So I want to make my friend who is in that backyard a shaliach, a messenger. I give him money. He takes a ring. He goes over to the girl, puts a ring on her finger, and says, "Harei at mukudeshet lo," and that's allowed. Yeshivah Besser, tell him it's allowed. You just learned it, right? It's allowed. Can you imagine? Yeah, that's what you could do. Backyard wedding with somebody else, it's not even your wife. But yes, you're allowed to make a shaliach to marry another girl. Fine. I don't think anybody's doing that today. But look what the Gemara says. Ready? Involves a prayer. Yeah. Rabbi Yehuda says, it is forbidden for a man to marry a woman until he sees her. He says, you're allowed to do this, but try not to do it. Why? Because it's not good for a man not to see what his wife looks like until he marries. Once he marries her. Why? Lest he sees something repulsive. Maybe he doesn't like her. Maybe he doesn't like what she looks like. Maybe he doesn't like the way she talks. Maybe he doesn't like her personality. And she's not going to be, and he's not going to like her, which will cause him to hate her. And it's a violation of what the Merciful One states in the Torah, which means, what is the Gemara about to say? Make sure that you love your wife. How exciting is that? Ladies here, are you ready? Where in the Torah does it say that a man has to love his wife? Let's see. Says the Gemara, right? How do we know that a man has to love his wife? Because the pasuk says, love your neighbor as yourself. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Are you kidding? That pasuk teaches us the romantic loving your wife? That's the pasuk that the Mishnah uses? And the answer is yes. We just proved it. Because of all relationships in the world, of course we should do things for our spouse because we love them. But what about if I'm not in a good mood today? What about, are you happy today? No, I'm not happy today. What about if something does that mean I don't service my spouse? Reacha, even it's not the same. The ahavta l'reacha kamocha. The relationship between a husband and wife should be the ahava. Of course, the optimal, the best, the top is to always be happy with each other. But the servicing and the taking care of and the relationship and the ahava has to be unconditional. Ahava she'ina tluya b'davar. Is everybody following? We're good? Something maybe you never noticed. How do I know that this is the type of, again, don't get this the wrong way. We want them to be chaverim. We want it to be the best. But there has to be a relationship no matter what. You know when we tell this to the chas and kala? The moment they get married. Where do we say this? Where do we say this to a chatam v'kala? You ready? Maybe you never noticed it. Yes, you got the answer right, whoever typed it. Look at the fifth bracha of Sheva brachas. Sameach tisamach re'im ha'ahuvim. Whoa! Gladden the beloved companions. Why doesn't it say chaverim ha'ahuvim? Why doesn't it say good? Because when it comes to that relationship, even if it's a re'ah, because v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, even if you're not on the same page, this love is unconditional. We got it? Now I got to tell you something. One more part of this. We'll see how much time we have. I've never said this before. I saw this from where did I see this? I don't remember where I saw it from. Yeah. But they quote, everybody knows, there's a very famous quote that Rav Soloveitchik and many rabbis say that if you want to know the depth of a word, look for it for the first time that it appears in the Torah. I have a lot of different Torah like that. Where does it say Re'ah the first time in the Torah? Kiva Besser, where does it say Re'ah first time in the Torah? What do you say? What did you say?
Kiva said it's from Rabbi Dessler.
Dessler. Where does it say the first time? No, Dessler said that anywhere it appears. Where does it say Re'ah the first time? No? All right. That means 2 popcorns tonight. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. All right. First time it says Re'ah. Ready, go. It's going to blow your mind. Everybody remembers the story of Yehuda and Tamar, right? Yehuda and Tamar. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but everybody remembers. Yehuda's had a daughter-in-law, Tamar. He was supposed to give her to the third son. He didn't. Yehuda's wife died, and he went to look for a woman to marry. Tamar made believe she was an available woman. I'm assuming you know the story. Bottom line is that he did something. He was with this woman, and then who was Tamar, and he gave her, his wallet or whatever, and he came the next day, and he couldn't find her. There's no question that this was a bit of a embarrassing situation for Yehuda, this whole story. I mean, exactly what was embarrassing, I don't want to get into, but it wasn't something that was so, something that he could be proud of at the time. The fact also that he didn't give Tamar, he didn't get his son to Tamar. Whatever it was an embarrassing thing. So here he was looking for this woman, and he needed help. Vayishlach Yehuda. And Yehuda sends Gedi Aizim, this present, to find this woman. Who did he send it with? Biyad Re'ehu Ha'adulami, with his friend. And why does the Torah use the word friend? Just say the guy. Hadula, No, Re'ehu, his friend, Rea, lakachata eravon yadisha, to find the woman. So I heard a beautiful perush. That word Rea is used when he went to a friend who he could show his weakness to. The relationship he had with this guy was that he was okay with showing that I'm not perfect. And his friend would still be his friend even though he wasn't perfect. And that is a Rea relationship. That's what it means, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, which means when you have a relationship with somebody and you see the weaknesses of the other person, you see the bad parts of the other person, but you still have an unconditional love relationship, that is an unbelievable relationship, and that's v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, and that's Re'im Avuvim. Booked? Thank you, Kiva. Okay, I don't have enough time, so we'll do a little more. Let's go a little bit into this week's parsha. Maybe I can do a lot. Okay, let's say 6 minutes. You guys ready to go? I'm going to end this with an unbelievable pasuk. This pasuk is for me. This is for all the teachers. The truth is, teachers don't need any more lauding. They're doing an unbelievable job with this pandemic. Unbelievable. But let's learn Musar. What is a great example of total unconditional love? A parent to a child. Come on, let's say that. That's true. Means we don't say, once you have a child, you don't say, my kid is not so cute. He's a little bit of ugly, so I'm not going to take care of him. Who says that? Right? Okay, so we lucked out. We have good-looking kids. What am I supposed to tell you? But bottom line is, I know, but bottom line is, no one says that. And even, if a kid doesn't do well in school, okay, so you discipline, but you still love your kid. So a parent to a child, that's unconditional love. Look at this week's parsha, something that's amazing. Look what it says. Ready? And this week's parsha, it says in Pasuk Aleph Perek Gimel, it's a quick one. Ele toldot Aaron and Moshe, and these are the descendants of Aaron and Moshe, biyom tiberet. Okay? These are the children of Aaron and Moshe. And the next Pasuk doesn't mention Moshe's children. Ve'eno maskir ele b'nei Aaron, English. Yet only the sons of Aaron were mentioned. Why does it say that? Says Rashi. What do we learn from that? Lefi shalimdan Torah, since he taught them Torah, melamed shekol hamelamed ben chaverot Torah ale alav hakatuv ki'ilu yaldo. Since Moshe taught the children of Aaron Torah, the Torah says, whoever teaches Torah to the son of his fellow man, Scripture regards it as it's your own child. So that's nice, which means if I teach your kid Torah, it's like he's my child. Nice, right? The deeper lesson, and I'm going to give him credit, and my family knows who this is. His name was Rabbi Joshua Silvermans. He was a head counselor in camp. He was a foremost educator. He taught me. He knew I was going into chinuch, and he said, do you know what this pasuk means? That when a teacher undertakes teaching somebody else's kids, make believe it's like your own kids. And just like your own kids, you have unconditional love. Make sure that you show unconditional love to your students, which means when a student acts up, if the student feels that the teacher has given up, hates, how many times has a kid tell me, you hate me, or the teacher hates me? That feeling can't come across. Because hate means that I don't have unconditional love. I could discipline, I can take points off, I can send the kid to the principal, but it's the same love has to be for the student. Got it? Okay, 3 minutes. Should I try something else? Anybody's got to go. I'm going to try something, a quick lesson in this week's parsha. It's at the end of this week's parsha. It's an unbelievable lesson. What do I got? 3 minutes. Okay, listen carefully. It's really cool. At the end of this, it's weighing piety. I guess I weighed it the wrong way because it's sticking up. But here we go. Ready? At the end of this week's parsha, everybody knows that Shevet Levi had 3 families: Gershon, Kehat, and Merari. 3 families. Says the Torah. This is like a sideshow that's so applicable to today. Hashem says, Moshe and Aaron, Al tachritu et shevet mishpachot hakati. Do not cause the people, the families of Kahat, to be cut off. Al tigribu lehem yamutu. Make sure they don't die. Why are they dying? And what should you do not to kill them? V'zot asu lehem. Do this and they will live. B'kishtav al-kodesh kodeshim, when they come to do the work, samu otam ish el avodato, give out individually tasks, says the Perush, assign to each of them his specific duty in order to avoid a free-for-all. By doing this, we'll ensure that each Levite will wait patiently for his turn. So what is that? What does that mean? What does it mean? They're not going to die because they have to assign a job. Okay, I know I'm going fast, but this is so worthwhile. Listen to the story. Okay, the Medrash explains. Okay, you know what? I'll paraphrase it for you, but you have it if you need it. The Medrash says that the job of Kahat was to carry, which means the Mishkan was a mobile unit. So Gershon carried one part of it, Merari carried, but here, some families carried the boards, but the family of Kahat had the special job of carrying the vessels, the Mizbeach, the menorah, the Shulchan, the Aron. Here we go. Okay, I'll look at your face. What is the holiest vessel of the entire Mishkan? The Aron. You know what happened, guys? Everyone in Kahat ran to do the Aron. We want to do the holiest thing. We want to say Yeshivah Rabbah. We want to do the holiest things. And what did they do? By doing that, there was a huge amount of fighting, right? But human beings, they knew there was a great reward associated in the Aron, and everyone only wanted to have that honor. So when the time came, fights broke out, and everybody started arguing. I got here first. I want to carry the menorah. You carry the shulchan. And you know what it caused, guys? It caused a tremendous chilul Hashem. I'm going to give you an example. It is my mother's yahrzeit, and I want to have a certain honor in the shul. But somebody else wants the honor. So I'm going to fight. No, I should have the honor. No, he should have the honor. I want to have the honor. I want to be the chazan. That's a chilul Hashem. Which means in trying to do holy things, sometimes we step on other people. And it causes a chilul Hashem. And therefore God said to Moshe, assign each person their job and say, this is your job. And if you're not carrying the menorah today, it's just as holy as everything else. Because every Jew has a job. Has everybody got it? I'm going to end with an unbelievable pasuk that maybe you never noticed about the Aron. And then we're done. And I want you to keep this image in your mind forever. Okay, that was pretty strong. But for a long time. Okay, here we go. Does anybody know what was on top of the Aron? The Kruvim. Is that what you said, Kiva? Yeah. The Kruvim are the two young angel images, right? That were on top of the Aron. This Aron, the holiest item. Look how the Torah describes the Kruvim. V'hayu ha-Kruvim porseich nafayim lemala. The Kruvim would spread their wings upwards. The wings were up, shielding the ark with their wings while it's going up. But ufneihem ish el achiv. Their faces were towards each other. Do you understand the image? Their wings are going up, but their faces are to each other. Do you know what that's teaching us? That when a person strives to be holier, I want to be holier, I want to be better. You should strive to be holier. You should strive to be closer to God. You should strive to do the top mitzvah. But don't lose face of the other person. Do not use striving to get higher as an excuse to be superior to another person. And that's the lesson of the Aron. Everybody got it? All right, guys, thank you. I'm going to open you up. Everybody can say goodbye. Same time